In March 2021, Geert Vanden Bossche stepped forward as one of the first people to challenge the direction that the world was taking by doing mass vaccination during a pandemic. His major concern at that time was that this potentially could drive more variants through selective immune pressure. At the time, his voice was not heeded by the mainstream, but his video gained over 1.3 million views on YouTube. He started a conversation that needed to happen. But who is Geert Vanden Bossche, and why should anyone listen to him?
Well, first of all, thanks, Philip, for having us in this interview. Well, my name is Geert Vanden Bossche, and I got trained as a doctor in veterinary medicine. But very soon in my career, I switched to research on human infectious diseases, and I worked for quite a long time, over 10 years at the university, specializing in virology, immunology, molecular biology, and then I went on to work in industry, where I worked as well in early development, so on the research side, as well as in late development, so being much closer to the clinical and regulatory side of vaccine development. I also worked for a number of years with global health organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and also the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization in Geneva, so Gavi. And that is where, of course, I learned to appreciate the impact of vaccines on global health and how you can use them to solve global health issues. I was also deeply involved in the Ebola crisis, Ebola pandemic or epidemic in West Africa a number of years ago. And I combined this, especially in the last years, with my consultancy business, where I am serving as a consultant essentially for biotech and also the pharmaceutical industry, primarily concentrating on the preclinical vaccine design and vaccine development. So my expertise in immunology, vaccinology, virology, and of course also global health, immediately raised my attention when I heard about not only the start of the COVID pandemic, but essentially the initiative of, let's say, the global health organizations like WHO to start mass vaccination campaigns. And I've ever since, of course, speaking out against mass vaccination during a pandemic. Over. I have never ever had any critique from anybody in the vaccine industry. I told you multiple, not necessarily to you, but probably also during one of the interviews we had together, I told this multiple times that the most renowned vaccinologist on the planet today wrote me in an email, Geert, you are right. These vaccines will only breed variants, but nobody will listen to you because you go against mainstream. But of course, if the WHO, Philip, opens the door to industry, I mean, their goal, their target is their business model is, of course, to enrich the stakeholders. You know, if they want a vaccine, if WHO wants a vaccine that makes people basically asymptomatic at the beginning by just, preventing the disease, but not the infection, and they want to deploy this at a very, very large scale. I can tell you that every vaccinologist that, has brains and has the kind of expertise in the field that I have will of course acknowledge and know that this is just going to drive immune escape that it is going to promote the propagation of more infectious variants, whereas we knew that the target of the mass vaccination was herd immunity. Herd immunity means dramatic diminishment of viral transmission and diminishment of the infection rate, and the vaccines were doing exactly the opposite. That is why, I've been crying from, the rooftops. Come on, how is this possible? And that my call was primarily directed to those who were opening the door to industry, namely the WHO. But, you should not be mistaken that I'm the only vaccinologist. I mean, I'm not a genius. Come on. I've learned my job in the vaccine industry. That is where I learned my job. So many people know this, but I mean, we know what is behind, of course. We know what is behind. We know why these people cannot, so to say, speak out. And but they are at least fair enough to not criticize me and to not say, Geert, you are a jerk, because no, they know that scientifically this is correct. I mean, immune escape is very well known in the vaccine field. I mean, so yeah, that's my comment. Sorry.